Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Broke trailer reveals Wyatt Russell and Dennis Quaid's Western drama to fill the Yellowstone void. Dennis Quaid and Wyatt Russell are saddling up to return to the Western genre in the first Broke trailer. The movie primarily centers on Russell's true Brandywine, a bareback bronco rider trying to determine what he wants to do with his life, all while balancing the pressure from those who care for him and his own worsening injuries. Alongside Quaid, who plays True's father George and Russell, the Broke cast includes Auden Thornton, The Fall of the House of Usher's Mary McDonnell, Reacher's Johnny Birchtold, and Golden Globe nominee Tom Skerritt. Now, with just under a month remaining until its digital release on May 6, Sony Pictures has released the official Broke trailer. The video introduces viewers to True with a monologue in which he describes the exhilaration of bareback bronco riding, before going on to show him stranded in the middle of a snowy landscape after an injury, while also cutting back to his relationships with his family and love interest, Ali, all of whom try to direct him to determining a plan for his life. Check out the trailer below. Though it doesn't seem to have any of the crime genre thrills of Taylor Sheridan's show, the Broke trailer certainly looks primed to entertain fans of the Yellowstone universe. The mainline show memorably explored the rodeo world through the lens of Jefferson White's Jimmy and Sheridan's Travis, particularly the real dangers to come from the sport. Given its contemporary setting and focus on a character who sees the sport as his best possible future, the neo-Western drama should bring in those kinds of viewers to watch it. Interestingly, though, the movie also marks a few firsts for the creatives at the heart of it, particularly for Russell and writer-slash-director Carlisle Eubank. The latter, previously known for penning the sci-fi thriller The Signal and Aaron Eckhart-led Muzzle, is making his feature directorial debut with the film. Russell, who's still in the midst of his star profile rising thanks to everything from Thunderbolts * to Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, is making his debut as a producer on Broke, pointing to his confidence in the movie's quality. For Russell and Quaid, Broke also marks a return to the Western genre, be it a direct genre film or genre blend. The former has only really explored the genre with Jon Favreau's adaptation of Cowboys and Aliens and Ethan Hawke's The Good Lord Bird miniseries. Quaid, on the other hand, is a far better-known face in the world of the Western genre thanks to the likes of The Long Riders, Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp and Lawman, Bass Reeves, which could further entice viewers to watch the movie. While comparisons between Russell's True and White's Jimmy in Yellowstone could be made, the trailer certainly gives me the feeling that Broke is carving out its own emotional take on the rodeo world. His character also feels like a dramatic flip from one of my favorite roles of Russell's, that being Lodge 49's dad, and I'm also very intrigued to see how his uncertainty about his future plays out in his and Quaid's dynamic in the film. As the Yellowstone universe rides off into a new era, leaving behind a dust trail of Dutton drama and neo-Western mystique, a new contender saddles up to claim its place in the modern frontier pantheon. That contender is Broke, and with the release of its gritty, slow-burning trailer, it's clear that this isn't just another Western, it's a reckoning. Headlined by the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's Wyatt Russell and Hollywood veteran Dennis Quaid, Broke promises a story soaked in generational conflict, moral ambiguity, and that inescapable question of whether the land you stand on truly belongs to you, or if it ever did. The setup, legacy meets ruin. The Broke trailer opens on a bleak vista: parched soil, rusted fences, and cattle bones bleached by the sun. Over this desolate imagery comes the voice of Dennis Quaid's character, Will McGraw, a patriarch whose empire is crumbling faster than the Western way of life he's sworn to preserve. This land used to mean something, he says. Now it's just what's left behind after the banks get theirs. Enter Wyatt Russell as Jace McGraw, the prodigal son, fresh off a dishonorable discharge and burdened by debts, emotional and otherwise. He returns not for redemption, but because there's nowhere else left to run. Broke is, at its core, about broken people, broken promises, and the broken dreams of a dying breed. A familiar feel, a fresh take. There's no denying that Broke is stepping into the long, dusty shadow of Yellowstone. From its Montana meets Texas landscapes to its themes of power, betrayal, and frontier justice, comparisons are inevitable. But Broke carves out its own territory. Rather than glamorize ranch life, it strips it bare. This is not about empires being built. It's about what happens after they fall apart. Where Yellowstone gave us sprawling mansions and ruthless billionaires with cowboy hats, Broke gives us foreclosure notices, PTSD, addiction, and the haunting realization that the American dream was always more myth than promise. The performances, rough, raw, and real. Dennis Quaid, now in the role of a man far removed from his Great Balls of Fire days, carries Will McGraw with a kind of weathered gravitas that only an actor with nothing left to prove can deliver. His Will is a man hanging on by a thread, trying to keep his land and legacy from being swallowed whole by time and debt. There's a fury in Quaid's performance, but it's always just below the surface, like a wildfire waiting for the wind to shift. Wyatt Russell, meanwhile, brings his signature unpredictability to Jace. Best known for walking the morally gray line in Marvel's The Falcon and The Winter Soldier, Russell here taps into a deeper, more personal vein. Jace is haunted not just by war, but by family, and Russell sells that torment with every glance, every clenched jaw, every drink he knows he shouldn't take. The chemistry between the two men crackles, not in the way of heroes and sidekicks, but like two magnets forced into proximity, repelling and attracting in equal measure. They don't trust each other. They barely tolerate each other. But in a world where loyalty is currency, they may be all the other has left. Supporting cast and stakes. Flanking the lead duo is a strong supporting cast, including indie darling Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, as the local sheriff caught in the crossfire between justice and survival, and Jesse Plemons in a chilling turn as a corrupt land developer whose motives remain murky but dangerous. His character, Nathan Cord, is described in the trailer only as the man who buys what people can't afford to keep. Add to this a troubled teenage daughter, played by rising star Kaylee Speeney, a border town with secrets, and a cattle war that feels less historical and more painfully modern. And Broke quickly reveals it's not just about a ranch, it's about the soul of the American West. A modern Western for modern times. What Broke understands, and what makes it poised to succeed in the post-Yellowstone landscape, is that the Western isn't dead, it's just evolved. This isn't about shootouts at high noon or tumbleweeds rolling across a ghost town. This is about opioid addiction, veterans abandoned by the system, banks swallowing up family farms, and a line between pride and delusion.